and a very happy Sunday to you. Wherever you may be, the Dodgers find themselves at home for the last time for a little while. They'll be gone for a week after today's game, and they will also say goodbye to Florida for the remainder of the regular season. This is the sixth meeting of the year between the two clubs. Big difference, however. The Dodgers are 9 games in front of Colorado, and for the Marlins, they are 6.5 games trailing the Philadelphia Phillies. Dodgers taking the field, and we'll take a look now at the offensive card. That would be written up by Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Fish. Chris Coughlin in left field, followed by Emil Bonifacio at third, Hanley Ramirez at short, Jorge Cantu at first, Jeremy Hermida in right field, Dan Ugla at second base, Cody Ross batting seventh in center field, the catcher John Baker, and the pitcher Chris Volstaff. On the mound for the Dodgers, the 36-year-old Jason Schmidt. And for Jason, interestingly enough, to show how things are going, in the Dodger notes, it refers to the 36-year-old left-handed. So for Jason Schmidt, as he warms up right-handed, it has been a while indeed. Although his last game, his first, was against Cincinnati. You may remember he struggled, made 36 pitches in the first inning, then settled down and picked up a victory, his first one in 838 days. By the way, his record against Florida is without blemish. He's 8-0 in his career, and it's taken him a lot, of course, to reach the mound again today. Underwent surgery in June of 07, then he had it again in September of 08. His career has been sparkling, although he has never done very well in the month of July. In his career, he is 18-24, but as most people know, he was an outstanding pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. As far as the Giants are concerned, they're in Colorado, and the Rockies are leading the Giants 2-1. Bottom of the third inning, Ryan Sadowski and Aaron Cook on the mound for Colorado. We'll take a look at the Dodgers with the leather. It'll be Pierre, Kemp, and Ethier in the outfield. The infield of Loretta, Furcal, Hudson, and Loney, and the battery of Russell Martin handling Jason Schmidt. For the Marlins, it'll be Chris Coughlin, then Emilio Bonifacio, and then Hanley Ramirez. Coughlin distinguished himself in Game 1, came off the bench as a pinch hitter and hit a home run. 0 for 4 in a starting role last night, and right back in the fire today, hitting .248, 5 home runs, 19 runs batted in. We're not going to see the Marlins again, so even if you've heard the story, it's still kind of interesting one more time as Coughlin takes the strike. The Louisville Bat Company sent him a half a dozen bats with his name on it, but underneath his name, instead of the Florida Marlins, it said Los Angeles Dodgers. Strike one pitch is swung on and missed. He kept one of the bats as a souvenir, hit a home run with one of the bats, and eventually broke 5. So he has one back home in the closet. The start of the game today, 90 degrees. The strike 2 pitch on the way to Coughlin. The left-hand hitter fouls it back. So the count stays 0-2. For Coughlin, learning to be a leadoff hitter. Though among other things, his frame of mind is basically get on base any way he can, even if it means being hit by the pitch. 0-2 the count. Back comes Jason over the top, and it's a ground ball to short. Up with it there is Furcal to throw him out. Coughlin runs very well. And we have one down here in the first inning on a ground ball to short. Emilio Bonifacio playing for Freddie Gonzalez. And I was just thinking about Freddie today. They are celebrating the 50th anniversary in Cuba of Fidel Castro taking over the country. And of course, Freddie left that country on a freedom flight when he was only 3 years old. You know, the Dodgers played in Cuba just as Castro took over. That was a pretty interesting time. Bonifacio, a fly ball to Pierre in left field, and just like that, 2 down. The Bonifacios, who is so fast, moving in the box, not too many hitters do that, but he was on the move like an Ichiro or a Furcal, only this time a fly ball. and the batter is Hanley Ramirez. How did the Dodgers play when Castro was taking over? Well, March of '59, it was raining hard in Florida, and Walter O'Malley felt after a couple of days that the Dodgers were losing their edge in spring training. So with his airplane, he flew the Dodgers over. Then he went to Tampa, picked up the Reds, flew them over, and they played a couple of games in Havana. And in those days, it was a big deal. You could get a big nose and glasses and a beard, a revolutionary cap, and have your picture taken looking like Fidel. Ground ball to short. Furcal is on it, winds up to throw out Hanley. Dodgers have really shut him down in the series. He's 2 for 9. Jason Schmidt makes only 7 pitches, and at the end of half an inning, no score. Loretta, Schmidt hitting 8th, and Juan Pierre batting 9th. Manny Ramirez reporting to Torrey that his hand felt a little sore today. He's also 37 years old, with a long stretch of games to be played consecutively without a day off. Chris Volstad ready to go to work, and the right-hander's first pitch to Rafael, a drag bunt that's popped up, and Bonifacio is there to handle it. So Furcal trying to start off with a bunt single. He had a bunt single last night in the 9th inning and eventually scored the winning run. So he tried to pick up where he left off, but not this time. Chris Volstad made his debut in a starting role against the Dodgers. He is another big guy. You know, Josh Johnson 6'7", then last night Vandenherk 6'5". Volstad is 6'8", 195. 22 years old. He'd be 23 in September. Working now on Orlando Hudson, and Hudson takes ball 1. He had a big night last night with 3 base hits, going 3 for 5. Orlando hitting .292, 7 home runs, 50 runs batted in, takes off the plate. That runs the count to 2 balls and no strikes. Chris Volstad is from Palm Beach Gardens, and when he was 9 years old, he had a pretty good teacher as to how to throw a baseball. Orlando fouls it away. His teacher was Hall of Famer Jim Palmer, who taught him how to grip the ball, taught Volstad how to balance himself on the pitching rubber, how to push off, how to land in the same spot. In other words, he taught him how to pitch. 2-1 pitch, and that dropped low. 3-1 the count. It was also Palmer who looked at Volstad's hands. He has big hands, and Jim decided, I'm going to show you how to throw a curveball. Fastball, however, is whacked to center for a base hit. So Orlando Hudson, a line drive single, and that'll bring up a red-hot Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier, with his team leading 20 home runs, 61 RBIs, hitting .440 on this longest homestand of the year. Last night, he walked twice, and he had 3 hits. So with a little 6-game hitting streak, Andre checking in. He has also 6 straight hits because he has a couple of walks interspersed. It started the other night when he had a single followed by 2 doubles. And the pitch to Andre is low, ball 1. Single and 2 doubles. Then last night he walked, not an at-bat. Then he doubled, then he singled again, and then he walked. So that's 6 consecutive base hits with a couple of walks sprinkled in there. And Andre on a 1-ball, no strike count against Chris Volstad. The 1-0 pitch is instead a throw to first. Orlando diving back to the bag. Hudson is a perfect 6 for 6 in stolen bases. So Chris Volstad, who worked for 3 years with Jim Palmer, and it certainly paid off. He was a first-round pick 4 years ago. Big guy set, ready, over the top fastball, and that's hit in the air to deep left center. Back goes Cody Ross at the wall to make the catch for the out. Hudson was already to second, and he is doubled off at first. Hanley Ramirez getting the ball to Jorge Cantu. Cody Ross started it, and the Dodgers are cut down. So last night the Marlins had a great play at first. Now they have a great relay, and at the end of an inning, no score. Going to the wall to haul down the long drive by Andre Ethier. Then he hit his cutoff man Hanley Ramirez, who fired to Cantu. And where he stood, Orlando Hudson must have thought that ball was going to at least go off the wall, because he was around second base when Cody caught it, and he was doubled up. So you go to the second inning. Schmidt made 7 pitches in the first inning. Volstad made only 8. And the first pitch to the Cowboy out of McAllen, Texas, by way of Reynoso, Mexico, Jorge Cantu, hitting .289, 10 home runs, 56 runs batted in, and he fouls the next one off, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Cantu's dad has a big cattle ranch, 8,600 acres, and during the offseason, he's in the saddle. He is a cowboy on the ranch. The 1-1 pitch on the way is in the dirt. Ball 2, 2-1 to Cantu. Then Jeremy Hermida and Dan Ugla. Final meeting of the year between the two clubs. Game number 6. And Jason Schmidt with that perfect 8-0 lifetime mark on the mound trying to extend it. 2-1 pitch on the way is taken a little low, and a 3-1 count. He had 2 ground balls and a fly ball in the first inning. Jason studying the signs flashed out by Russell Martin. And the 3-1 pitch pulled just inside third and down the line. It doesn't come back to Pierre, so Furcal has to retrieve it. And by that time, Cantu is into second base. So Cantu had a leadoff double last night and a couple of walks. And he had a single his last at bat in the first game. So Jorge Cantu hits the tarp roller so that the ball does not go to Pierre, and Furcal had to retrieve. So the leadoff double, hit number 1 for the Marlins, and the batter will be Jeremy Hermida. Hermida last night, 1 for 4, lost an extra base hit on a running catch by Matt Kemp. Left-hand hitter and takes high, ball 1. Jeremy also appeared as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning of Game 1. Came off the bench and had a key base hit to right field to drive in a run. 1-0 they counted Jeremy, hitting .249, 11 home runs. Schmidt ready, back he comes, and that's hit in the air to right field. Ethier is going to have to play it on a bounce. Cantu held up for the moment, then goes to third as Andre one-hops Russell Martin. So just like that, the Marlins have runners at the corners, nobody out. Ugla, Ross, and Baker coming up. Dan Ugla has been struggling throughout the series. The second baseman went 0 for 4 in the first game. He came right back last night and went 0 for 4. Manny made a fine running catch to take a hit away from him. So he is 0 for 8 in the series and struggling at only .226. Of course, Dan strikes out a lot, is not a high average man, but he has sock. He has already hit 16 home runs. And we repeated, in case you missed that name, Ugla, Uggla, is a Swedish name that means owl. And the pitch to Dan, hard ground ball. Down with it is Loretta, and the Dodgers turn the double play as scoring is Cantu. So Ugla drills a hopper to Mark Loretta, and Mark stayed with it. And around the horn, as the old timers used to call it, 5-4-3 DP. Cody Ross coming up. No run batted in for Ugla. And with 2 out, Cody Ross hitting .267, 14 home runs, 53 runs batted in. Cody went 1 for 4 and was hit by a pitch in the first game, takes a strike. Came back last night to go 1 for 4, so he is 2 for 8. The Cody Ross story, part of it has to do with injuries, and it starts with his dad. Cody swings, doesn't get it. His father, Kenny, underwent 5 knee surgeries, 3 playing football at the University of New Mexico, another steer wrestling. His sister hyperextended her knee and tore her ACL. And of course, so has Cody. 1-2 the count as the pitch up. Cody Ross joined Darryl Strawberry back in 2006 as the only players in Dodger club history to hit a grand slam and a 3-run home run in the same game. This year in April, he pitched a scoreless inning against Philadelphia. The 1-2 pitch to Cody, high and tight, ball 2, 2-2. It is a cute story. We told it the other night about Cody was struggling. Hanley Ramirez gave him an empty can of Skoal, the chewing tobacco. He put it in his hip pocket and was immediately hit right in the can, on the can, however you want to put it, by Pete Moylan. And since then, came right out of his slump with a base hit. So whatever possessed Hanley Ramirez to give him an empty can of Skoal, it seemed to help, and here he is batting .267. 1-0 Marlins, second inning. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed, can or no can, and down he goes. However, a double and a single and a double play ball, and at the end of an inning and a half, it is 1-0 Florida. Inning, it'll be Loney, Kemp, and Martin against the right-hander Chris Volstad. Fathers and sons sitting in the sun. Little daughters eating ice cream in Dad's lap. Just scenes in the stands today. 90 degrees. A little while ago, Nancy Heffley played "It's a Most Unusual Day," that beautiful song from State Fair from several years ago, to say the least. Well, it's 90 degrees, and it's the last game of the homestand. And the first pitch to Loney is low, ball one, 1-0. James hitting .280. He has 7 home runs, 59 runs batted in. Loney followed by Matt Kemp. Volstad right back and drops the curveball on home plate. 2-0 the count. That name Volstad might ring a little bit of a bell, certainly if you're a student of history. The Volstead Act, which was the reinforcement of the prohibition of alcohol. Here's the 2-0 pitch in for a strike. Although it sounds the same, he spells it Volstad. The Volstead Act was Volstead. The 2-1 pitch, and it's low and away. Ball 3, 3-1. So Loney trying to get something started. Volstad into the windup, comes over the top. Good fastball at the knees, and the count 3-2. So for the Dodgers, like playing against a basketball team, Johnson 6'7", Vandenherk 6'5", and now big 6'8" Volstad reaching up for a high chopper to throw out Loney. So one away in the second inning. When Chris made his debut against the Dodgers, and he pitched to Jim, he's just really starting. That was last year when he made his debut at Dodger Stadium. In that game, he went 8 2/3 innings and allowed just 1 earned run. Dodgers faced him this year in Florida, and he allowed 4 earned runs and suffered the loss. So here's Matt Kemp, 1 out, bases empty, 1-0 Florida, and Matt takes low, ball 1. Well, if you're out there in the sun, mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Remember water and remember the sunblock for sure. Pitch to Matt is low, 2-0 the count, with Russell Martin on deck. 1-0 Marlins. Cantu doubled, Hamida singled, Ugla hit into a double play with Cantu scoring. Now the 2-0 pitch tight to the knees for ball 3. 3-0 to Matt, hitting .313. He has 13 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Volstad right back again with a fastball that is fouled away off to the right. 3-1 the count. So they green light Matt 3-0. Fouls it off. Not a good swing. If they green light you 3-0 and you hit it foul, it better be a ball that's really been spanked. 3-1 pitch is spanked, and there's a base hit to center. So a 1-out single to center by Matt Kemp, and the batter will be Russell Martin for the Dodgers. Hit number 2. Chris Volstad leading 1-0, has a perfect record in games pitched in California. He is 3-0, whether it's against the Padres, the Giants, or the Dodgers. Light breeze always welcome, especially today, and it's blowing from left to right. So Kemp at first with 1 out, and Matt always presents a problem because he has stolen 20 out of 24. Out of a stretch goes Volstad, looks over his left shoulder, works Martin, who shows bunt, and takes low, ball 1. 1-0. Larry Boa going through the signs. Mariano Duncan over at first. 1-0 Marlins, bottom of the second inning. Final meeting, game 6. Dodgers have won 3 and the Marlins 2. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. Throw to first, very close. He caught Kemp leaning, and Matt was just able to get back. Marlins last night had a 4-game winning streak, and they had won 5 straight on the road. But the Dodgers upended them last night 4-3 in a tough one. Another throw to first and close. So Kemp back on his hands and knees. Casey Blake, who summed it all up after the game when he said it was lucky. Yep, a little pop fly that dropped into right center. The oldest line in baseball. It'll look like a line drive in the box score. There goes Kemp. Good throw, but it's late. So Matt Kemp steals number 21. He's 21 out of 25. Dodgers have the tying run now at second base with 1 out. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Russ Martin. It was a straight steal, not part of any hit and run play. So the green light, Kemp 3-0. Then he singles 3-1. Then he steals second. Of course, he had 35 stolen bases last year. 1-1 the count to Martin, trying to pick him up and get his 30th run batted in of the year. Volstad delivers, and it's fouled off to the left. 1-2 the count. Volstad, so tall as he works on Martin. Chris 6'8". Played basketball, as you can well imagine, when he was a junior in high school. He also played volleyball for a couple of years. One of his college coaches called him the Osprey, the big bird, because of the wingspan. Chris looks in, now straightens up, and the 1-2 pitch coming up. Volstad ready, here he works, and it's a fastball low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. When Volstad signed, he got number 1 pick money. That's usually high up in the million. Looks back at second at a dancing Kemp. That makes Ugla go to the bag. 2-2 the count to Russell Martin. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way. Volstad set, deals, swung on, fouled away. If you were here in the ballpark, or for that matter with our cameras, we could show you the fact that Chris Volstad wears his pants all the way down to his shoes. And someone said to him, "Why do you do that?" "Well, why do you wear the pants all the way down?" He said, "I never could wear them to my shoes growing up because they couldn't make them long enough. So now that they can, that's the way I want to wear them." Good for you. 2-2 pitch on the way. Waved at and missed. A fastball down and away. Martin turns, and I'm sure he asked Davidson whether it was a strike or not. Bob probably said now. 2 down, and Mark Loretta coming up. You know, Sunday this summer you can head to the beach here, Bleacher Beach at Dodger Stadium. Enjoy unlimited barbecue, Dodger flip-flops, and by the way, they're walking Loretta intentionally so we can fill in the gap here. There's a private beach party going on presented by Bud Light. To purchase tickets, visit Dodgers.com/beach or call 866-DODGERS. So Mark Loretta playing third base. After Casey Blake had that pop fly single to win the game last night, when he got into the dugout, the first thing Joe Torre said to him was, "You have just bought yourself a day off." So Casey Blake sits down, Loretta plays for him and draws the walk, and Casey can enjoy his position draped over the railing with Clayton Kershaw.
Jason Schmidt.
Jason Schmidt is batting 8th in the lineup, as Joe Torre has Juan Pierre batting 9th. It'll be an interesting road trip for Joe, going to St. Louis and Atlanta. He played for the Milwaukee Braves. He played for the Atlanta Braves. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals. He also played for the New York Mets, and he wound up managing all those teams. And his greatest year was as a Cardinal way back in 1971 when he was the MVP. So here is Schmidt, right-hand batter. Jason looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Schmidt had 2 at-bats in his 5 innings against Cincinnati and went 0 for 2. 2 on, 2 out. 0-1 the count. And Kemp a big lead. The pitch is low, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. It was such a big lead that it moved Ugla to come to the bag, so that if Schmidt was able to make contact, there really was a wide open hole on the right side of the infield. So Matt doing everything he can to open it up. Now the 1-1 pitch. Jason takes a strike and the count 1-2. The difference in the game in this philosophy, for instance, you'd say, well, wait a minute. Kemp doesn't want to gamble. But remember, Juan Pierre is hitting back of Schmidt. Another check of the runners. There goes Kemp, double steal, and it's fouled away. So the Dodgers rolling the dice, and Jason Schmidt fouls it off. So Kemp was heading for second. Loretta, the trailer, was heading for first. So Joe Torre opening things up with the Dodgers trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Talking about that road trip to St. Louis and Atlanta, this time of year blazing hot. But all the games are at night, but they will still give the Dodgers a bill. They'll play a night game next Sunday in Atlanta, fly home and play Monday. Little ground ball to short. They'll get the quick feed from Ramirez to Ugla, and that's it. No runs a hit, 2 left. And at the end of 2, it's 1-0 Florida. Against Jason Schmidt. 90 degrees at the start of the game here. So the pitch count, I would assume, is very important. And the folks who are out there sitting in the sun, a lot of them have brought portable fans or some kind of headgear, a towel, anything that come in handy. But as far as the players are concerned, when you realize all of the years they played this game in all of the various places, in some cases around the world, they have played in all kinds of heat and cold and rain and wind, you name it. So here's John Baker, the left-hand hitting catcher, and he takes a pitch low. John, from Northern California, born in Alameda, lives in Walnut Creek, went to school at the University of California at Berkeley. 1 ball and no strikes. Being a left-hand hitter, he idolized Will Clark growing up. John takes off the plate, ball 2, 2-0. Baker, 28 years old, originally a 4th-round pick by the A's 7 years ago. 2 balls and no strikes. Schmidt ready, deals, grounded, foul outside of first, 2-1. Boy, I was thinking of hot days growing up as a kid in New York with the high humidity and the high temperature. There were nights in New York as a little kid living in a 5th floor walk-up apartment. We would sleep on the fire escape. Yeah. 2-1 pitch, taken off speed and away, ball 3, 3-1. Lugged the little mattress out, pillow. Breathless. 3-1 the count to John. Jason Schmidt ready. Here he comes, and the fastball is low. So he walks Baker to start the inning, and that'll bring up Chris Volstad. And the first thing we'll look about Volstad, he has 4 sacrifices. He has struck out about half the time. So he also brings up that wonderful strike zone at 6 feet 8. Chris has a look down to Bo Porter, the third base coach. Bo was a Big Ten defensive back for Iowa University, played here in the '92 Rose Bowl. All right, Volstad shows bunt, and the pitch to Chris is down and away, ball 1. Over at first, the coach is Andy Fox out of Sacramento, and he grew up idolizing Larry Boa. Larry Boa played ball with Andy's father. 1 ball and no strikes, the count to Chris Volstad. Dodgers look bunt. Chris shows bunt, drops it foul, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. If you're joining us a little late, the run came in the second inning. Jorge Cantu doubled to left. Hermida singled him to third, and Cantu scored while Dan Ugla was hitting into a double play. Volstad again taking a look down at Porter, again showing bunt. And the 1-1 pitch, Jason delivers very high, ball 2, 2-1 the count. Of course, he'd love to have you try to bunt a high fastball. Chances are, if you hit it at all, you're going to pop it up, fair or foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. Schmidt hands it his sides, now set at the belt, checks the runners, and there goes Baker, full swing foul. And the count 2-2. So they took the bunt off, decided to play a little hit and run. Volstad has 3 hits, but he has struck out 16 times. Freddie rolled the dice last night and got away with it. He played hit and run with a slow runner and a strikeout hitter, and the hitter struck out. And the runner still had second base and took third on an overthrow and eventually scored. 2-2 pitch coming up. They put the bunt back on, and fielding it is Schmidt, and his only play is to first. So Volstad comes up with his 5th sacrifice. Baker advances to second, and with 1 out, the batter will be Chris Coghlan. And 5's in the dugout for Volstad. So Coghlan, left-hand batter, checking in. Out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, but he went to school at the University of Mississippi. First home run in Miller Park, Milwaukee. Got his first bunt for a base hit this year in June. The day he got the bunt, he had a huge day. Schmidt looks back at second with 1 out. The pitch now is off speed and away, ball 1. June the 12th. Chris not only had a bunt single, that was his first 4-hit game in the big leagues. He went 4 for 5. 1-0 the count. After Coghlan, Emilio Bonifacio, and the next pitch outside, ball 2, 2-0. Jason started out a 7-pitch first inning, then a 14-pitch second inning. And we'll see how he goes along in this one. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way, and a check swing foul outside of third down the line, 2-1. Breeze has picked up and is blowing from left to right, so the folks out there in the pavilion certainly welcome that. 2 balls and 1 strike. 1-0 in favor of the Marlins, 3rd inning. Jason at the belt. And the 2-1 pitch swung on and fouled away. Cute little story in the paper today about Jason talking to his 5-year-old son, who is just starting to play the game. And the 5-year-old said to his dad, "Boy, I really like this game. I like to hit and run and throw." And Jason said, "Well, that's why I've always played it." And his 5-year-old looked at him and said, "Oh, Daddy, you don't play baseball." Well, that's how long he's been out of the game. 2-2 pitch on the way is hit to right center. Kemp moves over to pick it off, and holding at second base is John Baker. So Coghlan hit that hard, but Kemp tracked it down. And Emilio Bonifacio coming up. Bonifacio has stolen 18 out of 25. He has certainly impressed everybody with his speed. In fact, he'll get to first base before you can say Emilio Bonifacio. He's played third base and left field. He's just learning to play left field. Kind of an interesting theory by the third base coach Bo Porter as Bonifacio checks in. And the first pitch swung on and missed. He's a switch hitter batting left-handed. Bo Porter, in teaching him to play the outfield, gave him a football. I said, what do I do with the football? He said, you cradle it and hold it to your arms as you run. You don't run with your arms flapping. Here's the strike one pitch on the way, and that's hits him. Just grazed him, but hit him. The Bonifacio grazed by the pitch. And just like that, the Marlins have runners at first and second, 2 down, and the top hitter in the league coming up, Hanley Ramirez. I think it got more of Bonifacio's uniform than it did Bonifacio. So first and second, 2 out. Hanley Ramirez has been shut down up to now, at least in the series. He is only 2 for 9, hitting .345, leading the league. 15 home runs, 62 runs batted in. Jason Reddy, right-handed, delivers, and it's probably whacked to left, and Pierre's going to have to run to the bullpen gate to get it. So scoring easily is Baker. Here comes Bonifacio to score as well. When the relay is dropped by Furcal, Ramirez goes to third, and he's safe when the ball is dropped at third base. Hanley Ramirez doubled in 2, and when the relay from Pierre got away from Furcal, and Rafael figured, well, okay, it's a double and 2 runs batted in, he kind of walked after the drop ball, and when he recovered, Ramirez had taken third. Though I assume they'll have to give Furcal an error, allowing Ramirez to get to third, and it is 3-0 Marlins. So you can only keep Hanley Ramirez quiet for a little while. And Furcal will get the error for dropping the relay throw. It was a very human reaction. You figure, okay, double 2 runs are in. No chance I have any play on Bonifacio. The pitch to Cantu in for a strike, and the count 0-1. The hit batter with 2 outs, the killer. I mean, he walked the number 8 hitter. Then he hits Bonifacio, and that brings up Ramirez, and you just can't do that very often. 1-1 the count now to Jorge Cantu. Ramirez at third, 2 out, 2 runs in, and the Marlins lead 3-0. Jason Reddy in the 1-1 pitch, and that's way outside. Ball 2, 2-1. So Schmidt laboring in the inning. 21 pitches in the first 2 innings. And 21 pitches in this inning alone. Now the 2-1 pitch. Cantu pops it in the air, foul. Martin coming over, Loretta coming over, very doubtful, and it is into the stands. So 2-2 the count. So the deuces are very wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 2 in. And the Marlins out in front, 3-0 with Hanley Ramirez standing at third. Another thing about Ramirez, he now and 2 with Hermida on deck. Jason Reddy, big right-handed delivers. That's fouled away off to the right. And the count stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cantu, the Cowboy, trying to brand a pitch right now from Jason Schmidt. 2-2 pitch coming up to Jorge. Swung on and hit to the gap in right center. There's nobody there. That'll go to the wall. So in comes Ramirez with the 3rd run in the inning. Into second goes Cantu with his 2nd double. And the Marlins now lead 4-0. So Cantu, who had a double last night, comes up with 2 more doubles today. This one to the gap in right center. Ramirez walks in. So the Dodgers in trouble now. Marlins 4, Dodgers nothing. Again, a word to the wise, and of course Joe Torre is fully aware of that. There's a lot of baseball left. Around town you get the feeling everybody is saying like they used to do in Atlanta. Yeah, but how are they going to do in the World Series? Whoa, wait a minute. And one thing Joe knows all about, and in case you forgot, August the 22nd of last year, the Dodgers started an 8-game losing streak. So it is a word to the wise. Jeff Weaver gets up in the Dodger bullpen. Rick Honeycutt going to the mound. 4 runs, 4 hits. 2 doubles, a hit batter, and a walk. And Honeycutt trying to settle things down, break the mood, at least for the moment. Baker walked, Volstad sacrificed, Coughlin flied to center. But then Bonifacio was just grazed by a pitch and awarded first. Ramirez was only 2 for 9, promptly doubled to drive in both Baker and Bonifacio, and then Cantu doubled to right center, scoring Ramirez. So it's a 3-run inning, and the Marlins lead 4-0. Jeremy Hermida, big left-hand hitting right fielder. Hermida out of Atlanta. Here comes Jason over the top, and it's very high, ball 1. We told you about Hermida during the series. It's still marvelous. He is the first player ever in Major League history to hit a pinch hit grand slam home run in his first big league at bat. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and Jeremy takes high. 2-0. He's a first round pick. First came up to the Marlins in 05. 2 balls and no strikes to Jeremy. He's only 25. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way, and he takes a strike. 2-1. On deck, Dan Uggla. Jason Schmidt in trouble here in the 3rd inning. Now set, hands together at the belt. And the 2-1 pitch coming up after he studies Cantu at second. Ground ball wide of first to Loney. He'll do it himself. And that's the 3rd out. But not before the Marlins get 3 on a couple of doubles, a hit batter, and a walk. And at the end of 2.5, 4-0 Florida. They've scored 13 runs in the scene, have scored with 2 outs. So for a minute there, It looked like Jason was going to get by, and then Freddie's club came alive with back-to-back doubles. And, of course, Hanley Ramirez, without a doubt, they're no. After the pitcher. So it's Pierre, Furcal, and Hudson. One, it's a ground ball to the hole, backhanded by Ramirez. The throw is high and pulls Cantu off the bag. I'll tell you one thing, only a Hanley Ramirez could have even made it close on that ball, with Pierre hitting and running. Ramirez backhand, short hops, throws on one leg, got it accurate enough, just a little high. I think Pierre might have beaten the play anyway. It was a remarkable effort by Hanley Ramirez, and Pierre gets himself a base hit. That would be hit number 3 of Chris Volstad, and the batter now will be Rafael Furcal, who popped a bunt up in the first inning. Pierre has stolen 23 out of 31. You would think at 6'8" that Volstad would be vulnerable to the stolen base. I mean, there's a lot going on when he makes his move to home. A bluff by Pierre in the pitch for a strike, 0-1. He doesn't have that big a leg kick, even with the bases empty. And he still has to bend the leg and lift the foot, his left foot, while keeping an eye. Chris set. Pierre studying him, and a quick turn and throw, and Juan is back to the bag easily. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Marlins. No runs, 3 hits, and an error for the Dodgers in the bottom of the 3rd. The Marlins have played .500 ball against the Western Division. They are 13-13. Strike 1 pitch on the way, and that's just off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dodgers are 13-7 against the tough East. The Marlins began the day 6.5 back at Philadelphia. Dodgers began 9 in front of Colorado. They were they were beating the Giants. Rockies 3, Giants 2 now in the 6th inning. So Pierre at first, nobody out, 4-0 Marlins. Out of a stretch goes Volstad. Pierre eyeballing him. 6 foot 8 inch right-hander delivers. Pierre goes, pitch outside. Great throw. Got him. Oh, wow. What a throw by John Baker. I mean, Pierre got a pretty good jump, and Baker just got that thing down there like a major league catcher. Great throw. Got a good pitch to handle, a fastball up to the gloved side, and Pierre is nailed for only the 9th time this year. Of course, the pitch location really helps the catcher, and that was perfect. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way, and that's in the dirt. Ball 3, 3-1. Of course, we saw a great throw by Baker, and remember Ryan Hannigan with the Reds? That kid catcher, he just threw darts all around the infield. So there's some fellows with big arms in the big leagues, and Furcal takes ball 4. But that great throw by John Baker slows down the inning anyway.
Orlando Hudson.
And Orlando Hudson, who singled to center in the first inning, coming up. Orlando last night went 3 for 5, and in the game before 1 for 4, and then a base hit first time up today. So Orlando has his average back to 294. Out of a stretch goes Volstad. He has to worry about Furcal now. Orlando ground ball to Ugla. The shovel to Ramirez, who just glides and throws for the double play. The second double play turned in by the Marlins. And at the end of 3, Marlins
888-224-1421.
Our Aflac trivia question today, this is a tough one. Jason Schmidt is the only active player born in the state of Idaho. Who is the only Hall of Famer from Idaho? If you say, I don't know, I understand. 4-0 in favor of the Marlins. Dan Uggla, followed by Cody Ross, and then the catcher John Baker. Uggla hit into a double play. He is 0 for 9 in the series. Been on base once the hard way. He was hit by a pitch. Right. 0-1 to the Owl. And he probably whacks it to left. Pierre watching this one go into the seats for a home run. Uggla's 17th, 52 runs batted in, and the Marlins are having their day in the sun, leading the Dodgers now 5-0. With Jason Schmidt being lathered a bit.
Number 12, Cody Ross.
Breaking ball that just was a hanger, and Uggla was all over it, not like an owl, more like an eagle. So he hits it back about 4 or 5 rows into the left field stands. 5-0 Marlins, and Cody Ross coming up. Uggla had been banged up, had just 1 home run in his last 24 games, but he's that kind of a hitter. He's liable to go on a tear now after hitting this one. And Joe Torre almost reluctantly, because Joe knows what Jason has tried to do, but it just hasn't worked. The pain, the discomfort, the rehabs, the tries, the busted hopes, and some derision. But he gave it his best shot. And now it looks like he has run out. He made 51 pitches today. Joe has Jeff Weaver ready to come in. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Marlins. No runs, 3 hits for the Dodgers. The players understand Schmidt, what has happened to him, what he has tried to do, and they can all relate to that. Joe's still talking to Bob Davidson, the plate umpire. Weaver should be ready, but Joe has not made an indication of bringing him in yet. So still talking to Bob Davidson, maybe in an attempt to consume a little time before going to Weaver. Not much else you can talk about. Followed the home run. And now Jason leaves. So for Schmidt, a disappointing outing. One of those things, you give it your best shot. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And today certainly he didn't. It is 5-0 Marlins, and we'll be back. when the Dodger notes referred to him as a 36-year-old left-hander. Jason, of course, over the years has been very fortunate. I mean, you can't feel badly for him as far as his baseball career is concerned. He first came up to the Braves in 1995, had a lot of double-figure victories, never won 20, but won 17 and 18 when he was a commanding pitcher with the Giants. Back in '02, he pitched in the World Series for the Giants. He's from Lewiston, Idaho, lives up in the state of Washington now. And when he was at his peak, he was an incredible pitcher and very feared. Threw hard, a fierce competitor. But physically, he's not nearly the same. And we'll just have to wait and see about the Dodgers, when and whether he will make his next start. So Cody Ross will go up against Jeff Weaver. 5-0 Marlins. We're only in the bottom of the fourth inning. Cody struck out in the second, and Weaver's breaking ball is up and away. Ball one. One and 0 the count. Ross fouls that one off to the right, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Marlins are 2 games above 500. They have identical records at home and on the road. 25 wins, 24 losses. They are going home, and Freddie's club is off tomorrow. Ball 2, 2-1. Naturally, the Marlins still consider themselves in the race, trailing Philadelphia by 6.5 games. And that's high. Going head-to-head with the Phillies, it has to be a little discouraging for the Marlins. They're trying to catch Philadelphia, and the Phillies have pounded them 7 out of 9. And what's really frustrating for Freddie Gonzalez, the Marlins are 0-6 against Philadelphia in Florida. So they have just been kicked around.
Number 21, John Baker.
So a home run that ends Schmidt, that brings in Weaver, who walks Ross, and it brings up John Baker. Walked, scored a run, made that great throw to nail Pierre. Five runs and 5 hits for the Marlins. And Baker hits one to the gap in right center field. That's going to go to the track by the time Kemp picks it up. Here comes Cody Ross around third to score, and it is 6-0 Marlins. So the Dodgers are being turned on the spit, and it's not the 90-degree weather. They're just being pushed around here.
Number 41, Chris Volstad.
So the Marlins have 4 doubles and a home run, and we're only in the 4th inning, and they lead 6-0. The batter now is Chris Volstad. With nobody out, a runner at second, the Dodgers figure he'll bunt. Takes a strike. He was able to bunt successfully in the 3rd inning, so he has 5 sacrifices this year. 0-1. The bunt is down. The play has to go to first. And on the sacrifice, Baker goes to third. So with Baker at third and 1 out, Coghlan and Bonifacio coming up. And Volstad doing his job twice, each time moving Baker up a notch. Coghlan grounded to short, fly to center. The Dodgers down 6-0, so they have to play the infield up with 1 out. When the infield is played up, that makes the hitter a much better hitter. Infielders can't react, don't have enough ground to cover. There's a strike. 0-1. Chris Coghlan been moved around a bit. He was a third baseman, then he played second. He was a catcher for a little bit, and finally the Marlins moved him to the outfield. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marlins 6, Dodgers nothing in the 4th. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's fouled away off third out of play. 1-2. Dodgers will leave after the ball game and fly to St. Louis. They will play a 4-game series with the Cardinals, a 3-game series with Atlanta. The only blessing is they play every game at night because it's going to be hot there. But the bill is presented by having to play Sunday night in Atlanta. And then after the Sunday night game, fly all the way back to Los Angeles, and that's a long flight, and play Monday. And play Milwaukee, a good ball club, followed by Atlanta. Milwaukee 2.5 games back of the Cardinals. So they have a lot going when they get here. So that'll be our next homestand. Milwaukee, Atlanta. Then the Dodgers go San Francisco, Arizona. And then the next homestand, the middle of August, the Cardinals and the Cubs. That's driven to right field. There's nobody there. That'll go to the box seats. Kicks out in front of the bullpen gate. The run scores easy. It is 7-0 Marlins on yet another double. This one to right by Coghlan. 5 doubles and a home run of their 7 hits. Hermida has the only single. So everything has certainly fallen into place so far for the Marlins. And the batter will be Emilio Bonifacio. So Weaver's touched up. Fouled away. So the Marlins scored 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and 3 more here in the 4th. So they have 7 runs, 7 hits. Dodgers no runs, 3 hits. Bonifacio flied to left and was grazed by a pitch in the 3rd inning. It's a little roller for call. So with the ball hit ahead of him, Coghlan had a hold at second, and that'll bring up Hanley Ramirez. Hanley Ramirez was originally signed by the Boston Red Sox. So when he came to camp as a kid, he was in the shadow of the star, Manny Ramirez. Manny took him under his wing. Gave him some bats. Gave him a wristband with number 24 on it. He had 1 game and 1 at-bat with the Red Sox in 05. That 1 at-bat he struck out. But boy, did he ever pick it up from there as he grounds it up the middle. And here comes Coghlan. He's going to score. It is 8-0 Marlins in 90-degree weather. And for Hanley Ramirez, leading the league in hitting, he finally breaks loose. He doubled in 2, now he singles in 1, and the rout is on. Tell you the truth, it's too hot for the fat lady to sing. 8 runs, 8 hits. No errors for the Marlins. No runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Dodgers. And the batter is Jorge Cantu. Not only 2 for 2, 2 doubles. Ball 1. Hanley Ramirez standing over there at first base. Doubled in 2, singled in 1. He is now hitting .425 with runners in scoring position. I mean, how good is he? And doing all that at the tender age of 25. He had a monstrous year 2 years ago. Looks like he's going to have another one this year. 2 years ago, he hit .332. 2-1 to count. Cantu is the 8th man to come to the plate. So Schmidt picked up by Weaver. Fastball sliced foul out of play. 2-2 the count. When the Dodgers go to St. Louis, they will not only have to contend with Albert Pujols. Remember, the Cardinals made a deal and picked up Matt Holliday. Holliday went 4 for 5 in his first game, and then yesterday went 2 for 4. So he's delighted to be back in the National League. Ground ball to Loretta. They get the force play, and mercifully the inning is over. It is a bottom of the 4th inning, 8-0 Marlins. Ethier, Loney, and Kemp will be coming up against Chris Volstad. They were showing a little bit of videotape on the Diamond Vision of a grounds crew pulling the tarpaulin across the infield, and one of the members of the ground crew, a young girl, fell, and they pulled the tarp right over her, and then they watched her burrowing like a puppy dog in a blanket. She burrowed away out and under and got a big ovation. And it made me immediately think of a playoff game, the Dodgers and the Cardinals in 1985. Gosh, 24 years ago. And we were playing in Busch Stadium, St. Louis, the older one, which featured not only AstroTurf, but it also featured a mechanism that they first started at Old Forbes Field in Pittsburgh as Ethier takes high. That mechanism stretched, not quite, but almost, from home plate to third base. In fact, if we looked at the area between home and third, it's 2-0 to Ethier. See the grass, the point nearest home, going all the way to third base. In that area, it was covered with AstroTurf in St. Louis and in Pittsburgh. The idea was when it rained, they could press a button, and up would come this mechanism, and it would roll out a tarp without any grounds crew, and it would roll right across the infield and be terrific. Honestly, the one in Forbes Field worked perfectly every time they tested it until it rained. And when the water got down there, it just wouldn't work. Well, here's the thing that we remember the most. Sitting in the press box, writing down things, getting ready for the broadcast. And the Cardinals were testing their mechanism as Ethier gets ball 4. And I heard a scream. I mean a scream. And the darn mechanism had come up, began to roll out, and it caught Vince Coleman, the outfielder, who was jogging off the field. and it almost completely rolled over him. That would have been a lot different than just a tarp being pulled over a player. This would have been a heavy metal roller. He could have been seriously injured, if not killed. And boy, it came back with a rush, watching them pull that tarp and the girl, etc. And now we'll get back to the game. Ethius at first. Here's Loney. I mean, I wouldn't dare do that, except it's 8-0, and I'm lucky to have you at the other end of this. Loney hit back to the box in the second inning. James hitting .279. 1 ball and 1 strike. On deck, Matt Kemp. There was a game in the American League recently where one club trailed the other 10-2, and they rallied back to win. Well, we'll see. It's 8-0 Marlins here in the fourth. And ball 2-1. So Baker going out to talk to Volstad. When the Dodgers go to St. Louis, Randy Wolf will open up Monday night against Chris Carpenter, and Carpenter has been pitching magnificently. Chris is 8-3 with an earned run average of 2.2. The next night, Chad Billingsley will go against Adam Wainwright, who's 1-11. The next night, Clayton Kershaw will go against Joel Pinheiro. He's 1-9. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ground snared, but it's foul as it busted on by Cantu. The final game in the St. Louis series, Hiroki Kuroda and Kyle Losey. So the Dodgers figure certainly to have their hands full with a Cardinal ball club that is 6 games above 500, 5 games above 500 at home, and leading the Cubs by only a half a game. 2-2 the count. And that's a little low. Dodgers, remember, in this series played the Houston Astros, and that was the second game of the series. Chad Billingsley against Roy Oswalt, and the Astros pounded the Dodgers that game 8-1. So that's been the worst home loss by a big 7-run margin. Ground ball backhanded by Ramirez. He goes to Uggla. He turns it to first. That's the third double play turned in by the Marlins. And once turned by Ramirez, this one started by Ramirez, and the Dodgers stopped dead in the water. Well, remember the Aflac trivia question? We talked about Jason Schmidt, the only active player born in Idaho, who's the only Hall of Famer from the state of Idaho. Harmon Killebrew, born in, is it Payette? 573 home run. He was a 1984 Hall of Fame inductee along with Don Drysdale. Harmon Killebrew. Meanwhile, the double plays are certainly killing the Dodgers. They've hit into 3 in 4 innings. 1-1. Kemp single to center in the second inning. It is 8-0 Marlins. That's pop foul out of play. 1-2 the count to Matt. Single, stole a base in the second inning. Marlins scored a run in the second, 3 in the third, and broke it wide open with 4 more in the fourth, chasing Jason Schmidt and adding 3 against Jeff Weaver. Schmidt was charged with 5. 2-2 the count to Matt Kemp. Russell Martin on deck. Ball 3. Chris Volstad given an 8-0 lead. And that's going to be banged up the middle for a base hit. Dodgers keep hitting out of sync, and the double plays have stopped them dead. Relay coming into the infield, but with the Dodgers trailing by 8, Kemp is not about to do any gambling at all. So Matt is 2 for 2. Russell Martin coming up. Location of the pitch got Martin his last at bat. It was a fastball down and away. Russell went after it, came up empty. Hitting .258, 2 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Has always hit well against the Marlins. .310 career batting average. Of course, that doesn't compare with Hanley Ramirez, who has exploded today. 2 for 3. Came in here with a .486 career batting average at Dodger Stadium. Hopper foul. Martin checking the bat. It's okay. 0-1 to Russell. One and one. Chris Volstad came in with a record of 7-9. 1-1 lifetime against the Dodgers. Lost this year. Last year made his debut and pitched an outstanding game. Went 8 2/3 and had the victory. So the big boy from Palm Beach Gardens, who was taught to pitch by a Hall of Famer by the name of Jim Palmer. 2-2. Last year, left-hand batters hit .243 against him, and right-hand batters hit .236 against him. 2-2. And Martin is fooled. Fastball last time and off speed this time. Prime Ticket is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, get the $2.99 big deal featuring a cheeseburger, a taco, small fries, and a small drink for just $2.99. If you smell the delicious aroma of a fish fry, it is 8-0 Marlins here at Dodger Stadium as we go to the 5th inning. So the fish are out of the pan. They're doing the cooking. 1 in the second, 3 in the third, 4 in the fourth. And now Jeremy Hermida will start it off, followed by Dan Uggla and Cody Ross against Jeff Weaver. Slow breaking ball for a strike. Hermida single, grounded to first, so he's 1 for 2. foul back. 6 of the 9 Marlins have at least a hit. Bonifacio is 0 for 2, but he was also hit by a pitch. Ross 0 for 1. He's walked. Volstad has sacrificed twice. Everybody else has had some fun. Good breeze out to right field. Fouled away. Of their 8 hits, the Marlins have 5 doubles and a home run. 1-2. Pulled on the ground, but foul. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tough games for pitchers, but of course it's a day's work. But it's so hard. It's 90, you're uncomfortable, your team is down 5-0, and you're brought in to pitch. Pulled on the ground to Hudson. 1 away. And of course, in all honesty, Weaver's role is to give the Dodgers some innings. So he might be in there a while. It's not a case of where they're going to hit for him. Unenviable assignment. Dan Uggla coming up. Uggla was really struggling in the series, grounded into a double play in the 2nd inning, but he got well in a hurry with a home run against Jason Schmidt, and that sent Jason out of the game. Dan with 17 home runs, hitting only .228. Whether he's swinging for the fences or not, it certainly looks that way, because he always strikes out a lot. 2 years ago, he had 31 home runs, and he struck out 167 times. Last year, he had 32 home runs. He struck out 171 times. And a towering pop fly. for Call is calling. 2 down in the 5th inning. And the batter will be Cody Ross. Well, you know, Mannywood is back. Fans can now sit up close to Ramirez with 2 field box tickets, 2 free Mannywood t-shirts for $99. Compliments of San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino. Buy now at Dodgers.com/Mannywood or call 866-DODGERS. Nobody home today, at least so far. Manny's hand was hurting. And at 37, I'm sure Joe is looking for time to give him off, especially before the long road trip. They figure to see him play every day in St. Louis and Atlanta as he talks to Mariano Duncan. That's right. 0-2. Cody 0 for 1, struck out and walked. 2 down, 8-0 Marlins in the 5th. Boy, that's tough. Right-hand batter, and a guy as big as Weaver starts that pitch like he's going to throw it around third base. That's when Roy Campanella used to say, that gives you the jelly leg. Your front leg wants to get out of there. The toughest, the most intimidating sidearm pitcher I ever saw. And that's going to be sliced into right center. Don't tell me another double. Kemp comes up with it, and Cody's going to second base. That is the 6th double for the Marlins. 6 of them, and we're only in the 5th inning. Anyway, the most intimidating. He pitched for the Cincinnati Reds. He was big and skinny, and his name was Ewell Blackwell. And he is the only pitcher I ever heard his name mentioned where hitters agreed they were afraid of him. Right-handed. And it looked like he was throwing around third base if you're a right-hand hitter. Well, they're going to walk Baker, and actually that pitch out almost came across the plate. So waiting on deck is Chris Volstad. 2-0 the count to John Baker. Walked and doubled. Interesting too, if I remember, players in the league, I'm talking 1947, something like that. Anyway, everybody who saw Blackwell pitch, they all said the same thing. Well, he's going to hurt his arm. I mean, there's just no two ways. You can't pitch that way without hurting your arm. He never hurt his arm. He did have, I believe he was finished because he had a kidney problem, but not pitching. Ewell Blackwell. Okay, 2 on, 2 out. Dodgers trying to get out of it with Volstad, who was sacrificed twice. 8-0 Florida. We're just having a peaceful little visit here. Check swing, that'll be a strike. 0-1. And that's a strike, little slider. 0-2 the count to Volstad. Jeff Weaver picking up the pieces. Jason Schmidt went 3 innings plus, gave up 5. Weaver has given up 3. So the Marlins have turned into a runaway horse. Foul back. Don't forget the next Dodger homestand that will begin August 3 with Milwaukee and Atlanta. Dodgers in the month of July 13-6, but it certainly looks like they'll be getting on the plane tonight 13-7. So down goes Volstad. 2 men left. Not really sheltering the crown. Hats of all kinds here at Dodger Stadium. Innovative as well. 8-0 in favor of the Marlins. And the Dodgers now will have Mark Loretta, Jeff Weaver, and Juan Pierre. Chris Volstad has inherited this 8-0 lead. His club has hit 6 doubles and a home run in their 9 hits. Mark Loretta walked intentionally in the 2nd inning. And ball 1. Interesting about Volstad. I mean, here he is with an 8-0 lead. You know, he's had 9 3-ball counts. I mean, he's been pitching like it's 1-0 or 1-1. And he's behind 2-0 to Loretta. Two balls and no strikes. That's in there. 2-1. Volstad has had 2 innings where he's made more than 20 pitches, but he's counterbalanced that. He's had 2 pitches when he made only 8, and here he goes again. Another 3-ball count. That's 10 of them. And he walks the leadoff man, leading 8-0. And the batter now is Jeb Weaver. Weaver with Juan Pierre on deck. Big day today for baseball, for the little city of Cooperstown, New York, and of course for the Hall of Fame. And a very big deal and a big day for several individuals. Good bunt. So the Dodgers trying to get one at a time. So a walk followed by a sacrifice. That'll bring up Juan Pierre.
Batting next to the Dodgers,
Ricky Henderson.
Juan Pierre.
A Christmas Day baby, born in 1958 in Chicago. You could spend an hour talking about Ricky's accomplishments. Let's just say he stole a base in 4 decades to join someone you might not believe did that. Ted Williams. Yeah. James Edward Rice, pride of Anderson, South Carolina. 2,400 hits in his career. Big bouncer to short. Ramirez on the run, gets him, and over to third goes Loretta. So 2 out. Rafael Furcal coming up. If you are an old timer, you remember the second baseman for the New York Yankees. He also played for Cleveland briefly, but the Yankees is where he really established his reputation. And that would be Joe Gordon. And Gordon was so good, they put the cartoon character's nickname. He was Flash Gordon. Hit 20 or more home runs, 6 years, drove in at least 104 years, and won 4 World Series with the Yankees and 1 with Cleveland in 48. 0-1 the count to Rafael Furcal. So Henderson, Rice, and Gordon were the players. In the Ford Frick wing, the broadcaster and the writer, Tony Kubek. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony, of course, played a long time with the Yankees. He was an all-star shortstop, went into the broadcasting booth and was excellent. But I guess I will always remember one thing about Tony Kubek: the bad hop ground ball that hit him in the throat in Forbes Field in Pittsburgh in the 1960 World Series. It's just something that you never forget. And the J.G. Taylor Spink Award went to a brilliant sports writer, Nick Peters, from the Bay Area. Another foul ball. So congratulations to Henderson, Rice, Gordon, Kubek, and Peters as they're inducted into the Hall of Fame today. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers have a runner at third. First time they've been able to do that. 3-2 the count. So that makes it 11 3-ball counts for Chris Volstad. Three and 2. Big bouncer right there to Cantu, and that'll do it. So the Dodgers leave Loretta, who opened up with a walk, and at the end of 5. and broadcaster Jaime Harin. Big day for all of us. Let's go back to this one. 8-0 in favor of Florida. By the way, we're talking about the Dodgers going out on the road and a big meeting with the St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow night. How are the Cardinals doing? They got hammered. The Phillies beat the Cardinals 9-2. Dodgers are buried 8-0. That'll be some collision. Jeff Weaver trying to eat up some innings. Always a very tough assignment, but somebody has to do it. Coughlin hitting .243. Grounded out, flied out, and doubled. That's a strike. Weaver had to come in the fourth inning. After Jason Schmidt gave up the home run to Ugla, he was done for the day. Little ground ball to Hudson. One out in the sixth. Emilio Bonifacio coming up.
Marlins third baseman Emilio Bonifacio.
Things were okay for Jason Schmidt into the third inning. He was trailing 1-0. He walked the leadoff man, and with 2 out, Bonifacio was the batter, and he just grazed his uniform, and Emilio was awarded first base. But still, it looked like Schmidt was okay, except by hitting Bonifacio, who's hitting .252. That allowed Hanley Ramirez to come up. And Ramirez probably doubled in 2, then Cantu doubled in Ramirez, and the back of the game was broken completely. 5 runs charged to Jason Schmidt. Joe brought in Jeff Weaver, who has given up 3 more. So for the moment anyway, it's kind of a non-game. 8-0 Marlins. 1-2. Of course, when you think about it, Dodgers lost Friday night. They were very fortunate last night to win on that pop fly into shallow right field. So they're still a team that has not lost 3 in a row. Check swing, he's done. So Bonifacio strikes out, and the batter will be Ramirez.
Now batting shortstop, Hanley Ramirez.
Another thing about the Dodger ball club, they've scored 485 runs this year, and the opposition has scored 381. So the difference of 104 is the biggest differential in the major leagues. Another reason why they're in first place. And way inside to Ramirez. Hanley grounded to short, then doubled in 2, then singled in 1. He's had a hand in a couple of double plays. 3 of them. He was the relay man on the double play that got Ethier in the first inning. He turned the double play in the third. And now Weaver apparently is pitching so close to Ramirez that Bob Davidson has warned him, and now Freddie Gonzalez comes out and said, well, wait a minute now. You warn him, now I get warned, which of course is the flaw in the baseball rule. As Freddie's saying, there's my man standing at the plate. The other guy tries to hit him in the head, or at least to do something, and now I get warned, so that if my pitcher pitches inside, I'm the guy who gets hurt. Freddie is hot, and it's not 90 degrees that's doing it. 2 in a row, and Ramirez nailed on the second pitch. Got him high up, back of the left shoulder. For Hanley Ramirez, the fact that he has so much talent, I'm sure he's been brushed back, thrown at before. He's been hit 5 times. Of course, now if you're Chris Volstad, the question is, if I'm a policeman, if I go out and start flipping Dodger hitters, they're going to throw me out of the game. So that's why the rule is so bad. Okay, a 2-out hit batter, and here's Cantu. Ball 1. One ball and no strikes the count to Cantu. Hit 2 doubles, hit into a force play. That's a strike. 1-1. If we look up Weaver and Hanley Ramirez, that pull foul. No, Ramirez was 0 for 1 against Jeff. Cantu hitting .292 with 10 home runs, 57 runs batted in. Two and two. Marlins 8, Dodgers nothing in the 6th. And a fly ball into shallow left center. Kemp is there. And that's the inning. No runs, no hits. A hit batter, a flicker of anger, and at the end of 5.5, 8-0 Marlins. Marlins have a half a dozen doubles, and Dan reached the seats for his 17th home run in the 4th inning. And we go to the bottom of the 6th, 8-0 in favor of the Marlins. During the interval, Bob Davidson, the plate umpire, walked all the way over to the Marlins dugout to talk to Freddie Gonzalez, the manager. And I'm sure Bob Davidson was saying to Freddie, look, Freddie, I know how you feel. I know it's unfair, but my job is to enforce the rule. And when Ramirez was hit, I had to warn you as well as Torrey. Now let's see about Volstad pitching to Hudson, and he really has the handcuffs on. I mean, if Volstad hits somebody, they'll kick him out of the game, which is really an unfair load for him to carry. A drive to deep left center. Cody Ross chasing this thing, and it's off the base of the wall. And Orlando Hudson, a long double. He's 2 for 3. So the Dodgers come up with their 5th hit, and Andre Ethier will be coming up, followed by James Loney. Eight runs, 9 hits for the Marlins, with 6 doubles and a home run. The Dodgers, no runs, 5 hits, 1 double, and 4 singles. The one thing that Volstad has done, He has walked some people. He's walked 4 with 11 3-ball counts. And a strike. Andre fly deep, and that turned into a double play when Hudson was doubled trying to get back to first. That was in the first inning. Last time up he walked, and then Loney hit into a double play. Dodgers have hit into 3. 1 ball and 1 strike. And that's hit in the air. Shallow center. Gone out as Uggla makes a diving try. It's picked up by Ross. Over to third on the bloop single goes Hudson. So the Dodgers down 8-0, trying to do something. Uggla giving it an all-out effort, but no good. Probably brought back memories of that game-winning pop fly single last night. One and two. Down in the Dodger bullpen, because they're certainly taking Weaver out of the game, Claudio Vargas begins to loosen up. And of course, Torrey would love to have the chance to hit for Weaver. That would mean he's really got something going. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Matt Kemp. Martin on deck has struck out twice against Volstad. Bouncer back to Volstad, and the out recorded, number 1, with the ball hit up the middle. Loney has to stay at second. So 1 away, and here's Martin with Loretta on deck. For Martin, he feels like the odd man out. Not only is he 0 for 2, but Volstad has only 2 strikeouts, and it's Martin each time. So Loney at second, one out. Martin trying to pick him up, and Loretta on deck. And a fly ball to left deep, going back and watching it go out of the ballpark is Coghlan, and it's 8-4 Marlins. And that will be all for Chris Bolstad as Freddie Gonzalez heading for the mound. For Russell Martin, his third home run of the year. His last home run was in Milwaukee against Braden Looper. That would be July the 10th. So the Dodgers trying to shake themselves. They were down 8-0. Now they're down 8-4. And Martin gives them a little extra life, and we'll be back. Loretta with Blake DeWitt out on deck. Badenhop, another big guy. He's 6'5" and 10. Strike. He's from Perrysburg, Ohio. That's the hometown of Jim Leyland. His father is a professor at the University of Toledo's College of Medicine. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mark Loretta walked intentionally and walked. Badenhop, born in Bowling Green and lives in Perrysburg, signed with the Tigers 4 years ago. 1-1. Big ground ball to short. Ramirez waiting on the ball. 2 down. Now Blake DeWitt will come up and bat for Jeff Weaver. And Claudio Vargas throwing in the pen.
For the Dodgers, pitch hitting for Weaver, number 33, Blake DeWitt.
DeWitt hitting 129. That's ball 1. Badenhop came to the Marlins in a trade with Detroit. Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis went to the Tigers, and they got Badenhop along with a bunch of players. Foul ball off third. Reaching in is Hanley Ramirez, but no catch. Boy, did he come close. 1-1 the count. Hanley coming over, sees Bonifacio. He tries, it hits his glove, and he just couldn't hold on to it. Great effort by Hanley Ramirez. Of course, he has a little something extra going on inside of him, I'm sure, after Weaver nailed him. 1-1 the count. 8-4 in favor of the Marlins, bottom of the sixth. Off the plate, ball 2. 2-1. Badenhop, fastball, little cutter, slider, changeup. And now he's 3-1. And a drive to right center field and deep. And this one is going to be off the wall. Played by Hermida, and into second base goes DeWitt. So we've had 9 doubles in the game, 6 for the Marlins, and 3 now for the Dodgers. So where the Dodgers have been buried, they suddenly come alive here in the 6th inning after Weaver hit Hanley Ramirez. And the batter will be Juan Pierre. Remember, Pierre is batting 9th. And ball 1. 8 runs, 9 hits for the Marlins, including 6 doubles and a home run. 4 runs, 9 hits for the Dodgers, including 3 doubles and a home run. And ball 2. Pierre hitting .315. Hit down the line, foul. Big play, of course, was Hanley Ramirez and his great effort to catch the foul ball hit by Blake DeWitt that actually hit his glove and then went into the seats, and DeWitt giving that second leg double. So Blake waiting to be picked up. 2-1 the count to Juan Pierre. Fastball, soft line drive to Hanley, and that's that. Dodgers, however, scratched back for 4 singles. time to bring you up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. Seventh inning. A brief rhubarb when Hanley Ramirez was hit on the back of the left shoulder in the sixth inning. And then the Marlin pitchers, of course, knew if they retaliated and hit a Dodger hitter, they'd probably be ejected. And at the time, 8-0, they didn't want to mess around. But it brought back a story out of the Miami Herald going back to June the 15th. The Marlins were playing Toronto. And the Marlins won that game 11-3. And in the sixth inning, Dirk Hayhurst hit Hanley Ramirez. The Florida pitchers did not retaliate. And after the game, Hanley Ramirez said, we understand in a very calm voice, that Hayhurst was throwing strikes and he was not respected, he was not protected, he was not backed up by retaliation. Freddie Gonzalez did not have to say very much. He was angry, and when they asked him about it, he just said, hit my pitch. Later on in the clubhouse, Gonzalez ordered 2 reporters to leave the clubhouse, and then 2 others were escorted out by the Marlins media relations director. So hitting Ramirez and not retaliating is a very, very sensitive subject, and especially to the Marlins and to Ramirez. In fact, what Hanley said was, it's incredible, there's going to come a point where I'm not going to feel protected. I'm going to be scared to hit a home run because I know I'm going to get hit. Well, in the game today, he doubled in 2, singled in 1, and then Weaver nailed him. So that put the onus on Volstad. If he hits a Dodger, he's kicked out of the game. So it is a problem, of course, because one team gets away with a clear shot, and Freddie feels that it's unfair. I know he does. And I think Bob Davidson, the plate umpire, feels the same way. Fly ball to Ethier. Look at where second base umpire Jeff Nelson is. You know he's about 30 feet in front of Ethier in right field. Well, that's great hustle on a hot day. He went all the way out there just in case Ethier might have travel, might have to dive at the ball, whatever. That's always great to see. Jeff Nelson, been in the league over 11 years. He worked last year's division series between the Dodgers and the Cubs. And it's interesting, too, that he is where he is today, so he can talk about him as Uggla fouls it away. Jeff Nelson worked the game in which Rickey Henderson collected his 3,000th hit. And, of course, Rickey went into the Hall of Fame today. But that was a wonderful play, I thought, to see Nelson go all the way out there on a fly ball. Oh, 0-2. Uggla hit into a double play. Homered, popped up. Dan is just 1 for 11 in the series, and it was that home run. It's 8-4 Marlins. 7th inning. In the dirt, nice block by Martin. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 7th inning, it'll be Furcal, Hudson, and Ethier. Ethier with a walk and a single. Hudson has a single and a double. Furcal 0 for 2 with a walk. 2-2. Vargas appeared briefly in the 8th inning of the game the Dodgers lost 6-3 Friday night. So Uggla has worked all the way 3-2 against Vargas, with Cody Ross on deck. Uggla, by the way, is 4 for 8 in the past against Vargas. A little foul, out of play. For the Marlins, they scored 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th. Then the offense stopped. Dodgers came alive with 4 in the 6th. So it's 8-4, and we're in the 7th with 1 out. To Furcal, who backs out on the grass and then throws in the dirt, and a nice pick by Loney. So Rafael really relying on his arm to take one step back on the grass in fielding the ball. Normally you see the shortstop on that kind of a ball come after it. But when you have Rafael's arm, you can afford to do it once in a while. And he got away with that bounce throw because of Loney. 2 down in the 7th inning, and here's Cody Ross. Struck out, walked, scored, doubled. Fastball, strike. Oh, 1. Cody, a former Dodger, hitting .268, 14 home runs, 53 runs batted in. High fastball, kind of an awkward swing. Cody makes a circle around home plate before coming back up again. He wasn't happy with his swing, I'm sure. 0-2. And a drive to center. Kemp going back, still on the grass, now at the top, reaches up and makes the play. Boy, that ball really carried in the heat, and Matt had to jump in the air to grab it. A 1-2-3 inning at the end.
Starting for the Dodgers. Shortstop.
Dodgers trying to play catch up, down 8-4, bottom of the 7th inning. They were down 8-0. Now facing Badenhop, and Brian will be looking at Furcal, Hudson, and Epier in the 7th inning. Raphael is 0 for 2 with a walk, hitting .256. A strike. Furcal, 5 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Off the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. 8 runs, 9 hits for the Marlins, 6 doubles and a home run. Dodgers 4 runs, 9 hits, 3 doubles and a home run. 1-2 the count to Raphael. Fouled away off to the left, still 1-2. Marlins broke the game wide open at the expense of Jason Schmidt. 5 runs, 5 hits, and 3 innings plus. Jeff Weaver came in. He gave up 3 more with 4 hits. And the Dodgers tried to make a game of it with 4 in the 6th inning. So it's 8-4. 2-2. Chris Volstad chased after the home run by Martin in the 6th inning. And Brian Badenhop. Down goes Raphael. Off speed pitch with a lot of sink to it. 1 out in the 7th. Orlando Hudson coming up. Orlando singled in the 1st inning and was doubled up. Then hit into a double play in the 3rd inning and then doubled in the 6th. So double's been involved with Orlando. Scored a run. And he's nailed. Now let's see. They're going to throw out Badenhop, and we've got a mess going on. So Hanley Ramirez was nailed by a pitch. Each team was warned. Now Badenhop hits Hudson, and Badenhop is going to be kicked out of the game automatically. So we told you about the feeling where Hanley Ramirez felt that he's just not being protected. And finally, if you want to call it protection, Badenhop hammers Orlando Hudson. So we told you the middle of June, the rhubarb after Ramirez was hit by Toronto. So Badenhop is going to get 5s. He'll probably get an extra 5 from Hanley Ramirez, but he pays the price as they kick him out of the game. Now let's see about who's going to come in with Hudson hit by the pitch. For Hudson, it's the 3rd time this year it's been hit by a pitch. You would think, and I know why they've done it, they have Pinto and Ayala down in the pen. You would think if a pitcher from Team A hits a hitter from Team B, that Team B would allow 1 shot, but they're afraid. But sooner or later, you know, with the highly competitive spirit that got these guys to the big leagues in the first place, they're going to make a point. Ramirez outspoken as to how he felt. So Freddie Gonzalez is gone. Carlos Tosca is now the skipper, and we'll be back. out, bases empty, and the Marlins leading 8-0. Ramirez came up, and Weaver drilled him just below the left shoulder. Bob Davidson then warned Weaver and warned Florida. And, of course, it's unfair because Florida's minding its own business, and they know the rule. And the rule is if they retaliate, why, the manager and the pitcher kicked out. So Hudson is nailed here in the 7th. And when Badenhop is knocked out, kicked out really, you can see the reaction of the team. Nice going. Way to go. Protect us. So both Gonzalez and Badenkamp kicked out. And Raynel Pinto will come in, and Hanley Ramirez, no doubt thinking to himself the words that I uttered back in the middle of June about Toronto and the fact I wasn't being protected. I've made my point. Ethier, meanwhile, comes out there, and he'd have to be less than human if he didn't say, well, good, they didn't pick me. You got to believe they picked somebody. Raynel Pinto, 27-year-old out of Venezuela, working on Andre. Oh, 2. Pinto pitched the 6th inning last night. He was brought in to face Ethier, who singled up the middle. Then Blake walked. Then Loney singled. He was gone. And then Martin singled against Kiko Calero. And Pinto was charged with 2 runs in that brief appearance. Ethier, Loney, and Kemp. 1 out. Hudson at first. 8-4 Marlins. And he takes care of Ethier. So 2 out here in the 7th inning, and James Loney coming up. I don't want to say they planned ahead, but you know they might have. In other words, Badenhop goes to the mound, faces for call, and then the thought is, wait a minute, after Hudson come 2 left-hand batters. So if I nail Hudson, I get kicked out, but then we'll bring Pinto in. I mean, just thinking aloud. Raynel, big fella, 6'4", 200-pounder. Originally signed by the Cubs as a free agent. Working on Loney. Strike. Loney hit back to the box, hit into a double play, doubled, and rode home on the home run by Martin. Marlins lead 8-4, bottom of the 7th. One ball and 1 strike. Nice block by Baker. Hudson trailing by 4, so he's not going to gamble with 2 out. Final game of the homestand. The Dodgers came into this game with a record of 6-3 on the stand. They split the 4 with Houston, swept Cincinnati, and they were 1-1 going into this one. Ball 2. So a victory, pull it out, they will have won 7 out of 10. Lose it, they'll hit the road having won 6 out of 10. And knowing they could easily have been swept if they lose today. Only Blake's pop fly that dropped in last night gave them a victory. And that's going to be hit to center. That's a base hit. Hudson stopping at second. And the batter will be Matt Kemp.
Center fielder, number 27,
Matt Kemp, 2 for 3. Had 2 singles and then hit back to the box. And Carlos Tosca now coming out. And from the looks of things, they'll go to the pen and bring in Luis Ayala. Meanwhile, like a restless lion, Manny Ramirez will go up the runway. There is a big screened area with a tee, and you can put a ball on the tee and really loosen up. So while he's doing that, we'll do this. The matchups coming up on the road in St. Louis: Wolf and Carpenter, Billingsley and Wainwright, Kershaw and Pinero, and Kuroda and Loesch. And then the Dodgers spend the weekend in Atlanta and come home. You know, we were mentally having a little fun talking about Badenhov, saying I'm probably coming out anyway with Ethier and Loney coming up, so I'll take that shot to protect Ramirez and nail Hudson. But if you think about it, in the 6th inning, Jeff Weaver had already worked 2 2/3. He knew they were going to hit for him in the bottom of the 6th, so he could have gone out to the mound and said, okay, I have a shot at Hanley Ramirez. Now, these are only mental games we're playing up here in the booth, but there's a lot going on. So Matt Kemp will face Luis Ayala with 2 on, 2 out, 8-4 Marlins, 7th inning. Matt with 13 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Luis Ayala, 6'2", 185, and he's from the same hometown that boasts Juan Castro, and that would be Los Mochis in Mexico. Ayala, 31 years old. He was victimized last night on that pop fly single by Casey Blake with 2 strikes that won the game for the Dodgers. Ayala spent a lot of years in the Mexican League, then came up with the Expos, becoming the Nationals. Then he went to the Mets and the Twins, and Manny is loosening up. Tied him up on that pitch, 0-2. Luis Ayala. He was hunting with friends 2 years ago, and a shotgun pellet lodged in his arm. Suffered a bruised nerve in the upper forearm. The pellet is still in the arm, and it won't be removed as long as he doesn't get an infection. No artery damage. The nerve is intact. Ball 1. Well, he hits 94 on the gun, so that arm is indeed fine. But then again, in further analysis, he was hit on the left forearm, not his right arm. Hudson and Loney are out there with 2 down, 1-2 the count to Matt Kemp. Fouled away. Ayala has really bounced around. Property of the Expos, but playing for the Serapi makers of the Mexican League. Montreal purchased his contract. Then he signed a 2-year deal with the Nationals. Then the Mets got him in a deal. Then he filed for free agency. Then he signed with the Twins. Then they released him. And here he is with the Marlins. Luis Ayala. 1-2 to Matt Kemp. Still 1-2. A late shift by John Baker. He waited till the very last second and then moved off the plate. And Ayala got it right there, and Kemp was just able to get a piece. See him move over? And Matt does a good job of covering the area. Last year, right-hand hitters hit .288 against Ayala, and left-handers .285, so he struggled. 1-2. Fastball hit to the hole. Ramirez quickly to second for the force on Loney, and that's the inning. So no runs, 1 hit plus a hit batter, and at the end it's 7. Marlins 8, Dodgers 4. Wow. Mom, you got him going in the right direction. Even Dodger blue and white ribbon. 8th inning. John Baker, then the pitcher spot, Ayala and Chris Coghlan. Gabby Sanchez comes out in the on-deck circle, so he'll be batting for Ayala. John Baker walked and scored, doubled, walked again, and made a great throw earlier in the game. That's when he nailed Pierre trying to steal. Oh and 1. It's been Schmidt, Weaver, and Vargas. Look out. And that grazed him. So Baker is hit by the pitch. And Gabby Sanchez coming up. In there and just got part of his shirt. And now Sanchez is going to give way. Russ Glode is coming up. Ross left-hand batter. And Glode will hit instead of Sanchez.
Pinch hitting for the Marlins, number 7, Ross Glode.
So Ross Glode appeared as a pinch hitter last night, flied to center, appeared as a pinch hitter in the first game, and walked. Glode is out of Brooklyn, New York, lives out in the Hamptons, went to school at the University of South Florida. 3 home runs, 16 runs batted in, ball 1. Glode with a .273 batting average, basically a first baseman. Even 6-footer, 190, 33 years old. One and 0. And he probably bangs it off the body of Vargas. They get a force play. And Claudio apparently is okay. Though Vargas is fortunate, the Dodgers are lucky. And we have 1 out. That thing was heading for center field. So the Dodgers gone out to make sure that Claudio Vargas is okay. Claudio, 30 years old, and has had his physical problems. Elbow, rotator cuff, tendonitis, stiff lower back. Now he gets hammered by the line drive, and as he turned defensively, it hit him and carried him directly to Furcal, and they got a force play. So he's going to be allowed to make a pitch or two to make sure he is indeed out. So force play 6-4. Marlins 8 runs, 9 hits. Dodgers 4 runs, 10 hits. Got into a throwing incident where eventually Brian Badenhoff and the skipper Freddie Gonzalez ejected from the game. But it all was set up when Jeff Weaver nailed Hanley Ramirez with 2 out and the bases empty in the 6th inning. That woke everybody up. So now the leadoff man, Chris Coghlan, grounded to short, flied to center, doubled to right, grounded to second. Glode at first with 1 out. And ball 1. Coghlan checking with Bo Porter, coaching at third. That's a strike. Glode has been in 74 games. He's the runner over at first, but he has not been involved in a stolen base. Held on by Loney. 1 ball, 1 strike. On the outside corner, 1-2. Schmidt, Weaver, and Vargas. In the dirt, nice block by Russell Martin. 2-2. In September 2 years ago, Globe had a hyperextended knee, so he didn't figure to be much of a base stealer anyway. Ross had 3 with the Royals. 2-2. And with a runner going, base hit to left field. Pierre plays it on a hop. So the Dodgers are truly fortunate. If Globe's ball doesn't hit Vargas, that's a clear single. And Vargas is up to his hips in alligators. Instead, with 1 out, runners at first and second, Bonifacio is coming up and Hanley Ramirez on deck. So Coghlan comes up with his second hit. So this is a big at bat for Bonifacio, with 2 on and 1 out, trying to extend the inning for Hanley Ramirez. He has grounded into 4 double plays. Fouled away. 0-1. Bonifacio came into the game hitting .253, hitting over 300 right-handed, and .222 left. So his overall average now .251. Holds up just off the plate. No swing, says Mark Carlson. 1 ball and 1 strike. 8 runs, 10 hits for the Marlins, 4 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers. Collectively, we've had 9 doubles and 2 home runs. 1-1. On the outside corner. Down in the Dodger bullpen, Ramon Troncoso warming up. One and 2 to Bonifacio. Fly to left, hit by a pitch, grounded to short, and struck out. Scored a run. Got him. Inside corner, down he goes. However, he didn't hit into a double play. So Hanley Ramirez coming up. Ramirez was 2 for 8 coming into this game in the series, and grounded to short in the first inning to make him 2 for 9. But then in the third inning, he doubled in 2 runs and then scored himself, and then singled in a run in the fourth inning. So he was 2 for 3, 3 RBIs. Came up to hit with 2 out and the bases empty. Weaver hit him on the left shoulder, and that started things simmering. Big sweeping slider, 1 ball and no strikes. Ramirez leading the league in hitting. Runs very well. He'll put pressure on the infielders if they have to get him instead of a force play. And he's had 16 infield singles this year. 1-0 to Hanley. On the corner. Hanley has 15 home runs, 65 runs batted in. He has also stolen 15. One ball, 1 strike. And that's fouled away off to the right out of play, so we have time to give you the paid attendance. Another nice crowd, 48,597. 48,597. We had over 50,000 last night, and we had 51,500 Friday night. Final meeting of the year with the Marlins. Florida trying to split the 6. Dodgers trying to win 4 of 6. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And got him. Outside corner. Hanley can't believe it. Bob Davidson rings him up. So no runs, and the Dodgers very fortunate that Glode's line drive Hanley Ramirez called out on strikes in the 8th inning, so the Marlins lead 2. Could easily have scored had that line drive not hit Vargas and was deflected to Percall, who turned it into a force play. However, with all of the luck, the Dodgers are still down 8-4. Both Casey Blake and Manny Ramirez at the ready. And on the mound, Brendan Donnelly coming out of the Florida bullpen. Donnelly, 38 years old, and certainly no stranger in these parts. He was originally signed by the White Sox, but he came up with the Angels in 2002. He was an all-star with the Angels. He pitched exceptionally well in the World Series for them, and he was with the Angels from 02 through 06. Then he went to the Red Sox, the Indians, and here he is with the Marlins. So Brendan Donnelly will be working now to Russell Martin. Martin had struck out twice, hit his 3rd home run of the year in the 6th inning. His first home run at Dodger Stadium in August of last year, ball 1. We saw Brendan pitch the 8th inning in the first game. He made 15 pitches and got a couple of outs. Then they had to go to Dan Meyer. That's lifted into right field. Hamida coming over. 1 away. So, you know, you can get everything you want on your next trip to Dodger Stadium. 3 tickets, Dodger dogs, sodas, t-shirts, hats, a beach bag full of souvenirs, peanuts, and parking for $99. Visit Dodgers.com/specials or call 866-DODGERS. Get more compliments of Dodgers and JetBlue. So with 1 away, Mark Loretta coming up, and Casey Blake is out on deck. Loretta walked twice, once intentionally grounded to short. So as we said, when Casey Blake got that pop-fly single last night to win the game, Joe Torre said you've just bought yourself a day off. Well, Blake's had most of the day off, but he's back out on deck on duty. 2-0 the count to Mark Loretta. Brendan Donnelly, fastball, slider, change, and a splitter. And he's behind 3-0. And that's a strike. 3-1. Kind of a herky-jerk delivery for Brendan Donnelly, and he really comes after the hitter. He hurdles off the mound. Three and one. And that's popped up. Right side, Dan Uggla. So Loretta pops it up, and with 2 out in the 8th inning, the Dodgers go with their second pinch hitter so far. Blake DeWitt doubled in the 6th inning. And now here's Casey Blake batting for Vargas in the 8th. Casey, thankful for small blessings. Last night he had struck out and grounded out 0 for 3 when he got the pop fly single to right field to win the game. In game 1 of the series, he tripled and went 1 for 4. Overall, batting .275. Fastball strike. 0-1. Juan Pierre, batting 9th in the lineup, is out on deck. 2 out, 8th inning, 8-4 Marlins. In the dirt. When the Marlins come up in the 9th, they'll have Cantu, Hermida, and Uggla. Case 12 home runs, 56 runs batted in. Ground ball hard, but Uggla's in position, and that'll be that. The Dodgers go quietly in the 8th. Donnelly walks off, and at the end of 8, it remains Marlins 8, Dodgers 4. Weaver, Vargas, and now Troncoso. Ramon, with a record of 4-0 and a good ERA of under 2. He also has 5 saves. He'll be working against Cantu, Hermida, and Uggla. Jorge Cantu, couple of doubles hit into a force play fly to center, 2 for 4. Fastball strike, 0-1. Cantu doubled and scored, and doubled to drive in 2. One and one to the Cowboy. And a shot right to where Hudson is stationed. One away. Like real estate, location, location, location. And Jeremy Hermida coming up. When the Dodgers bat in the ninth inning, Juan Pierre, who's batting ninth in the lineup, will lead it off. Then for Call and Hudson. Hermida single to right, grounded to first, grounded to second, flied to right. 1 for 4. His base hit in the second inning sent Cantu to third, and when Uggla hit into a double play, Cantu scored, so he set up 1. A shattered bat, slow ground ball to Furcal, and that's the second out. In looking at the Marlins, they piled up 8 runs early in the first 4 innings. They've had 1 hit since the 4th inning, and that was a double by Cody Ross in the 5th. So their offense was turned off, but they're certainly hoping that 8 runs would be enough. Dan Uggla hit into a double play, homered, popped up, grounded out. Dan hitting only .226, but 17 home runs. So the owl, which is what Uggla means in Swedish, he's out of Louisville, Kentucky. And drives one to left, but it's hooking as she goes foul. 1-1 to Dan. 5'11", win 200. Spent 5 years in Double-A when he was in the Arizona organization. Got out of jail with the Marlins and has hit over 100 runs for him. 100 home runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. Joe Gordon entered the Hall of Fame today. Dan Uggla broke Joe Gordon's home run record for a rookie second baseman back in 2006, and he strokes one to the gap in left center. That will go to the fence. That means the 7th double for the Marlins and the 10th double in the game. So it's been almost double or nothing.
Batting center fielder number 12, Cody Ross.
Well, the Marlins were unlucky, didn't score in the 8th inning. They've had the double by Ross in the 5th, and then the single by Coghlan in the 8th. Now they get the double by Uggla. And here's Cody. Struck out, walked, doubled, and lost a hit on a fine running catch by Matt Kemp in the 7th inning. Right. And Cody, by his body language, a little unhappy with the call. Hanley Ramirez certainly thought that he was robbed when he was rung up for strike 3 in the 8th inning. 0-1 to Cody. At second base, Dan Uggla. 0-2. To repeat when the Dodgers come up in the 9th inning, Juan Pierre, Rafael Furcal, and Orlando Hudson. It would not appear as if there's any room for Manny Ramirez, but we'll see. Manny didn't start today. That left hand was hurting. Foul back. Manny at 37, perhaps welcoming a day off. And of course he'll be in there punching the time clock every game, I'm sure, on the road. 4 in St. Louis, 3 in Atlanta, including next Sunday's killer, a night game in Atlanta, the long flight back to Los Angeles, and a Monday night game with Milwaukee. 0-2. And that's hit to center. Kemp right there. So a wasted double by Uggla in the 9th inning. And the Dodgers now, Pierre, Furcal, and Hudson trying to get off the floor. It's 8-4 Marlins. Bottom of the ninth inning, Florida 8, Dodgers 4. Time for the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Attention Assist of the game. And it was a ball hit by Cody Ross and a long run and a leaping catch by Matt Kemp. Claudio Vargas saluting him from the mound. Big play by Matt, but the glove's not going to do it now. It's up to the bat. Bottom of the ninth, 8-4 Marlins, and Leo Nunez coming out of the bullpen. You know, the closer for the Marlins, Matt Lindstrom, has a sprained right elbow. Lindstrom had 14 saves. They are hoping to get him back early in August. So Leo Nunez is asked to get some outs. Leo's out of the Dominican, 6'1", 175. He's only 25. He'd be 26 the middle of August and was originally signed by the Pirates 9 years ago. Came up to the Kansas City Royals, and he was up and down with them until he hooked on with Florida. And here's Pierre, who spent 3 years with the Marlins, and strike one. He's been playing with the shortstop. He singled to short, grounded to short, lined out to short. 0-2. Nunez is the fella in May, earned his first save, striking out the only batter he faced. But he was unaware of the ball's significance, and catcher Ronnie Paulino gave it to a young fan in the stands who was wearing an arm cast. So he lost his first save ball, but he comes right back to strike out Pierre on 3 pitches. One out in the ninth. Nunez with a fastball and a slider, throws a change. They tell me he's working on a cutter. Left-hand hitters hit 272 against him last year. Right-handers hit only 230. Ball one. For call, tried to bunt his way aboard leading off, popped it up, then walked, grounded out, struck out. So Rafael is 0 for 3. Fouled away. 1-1. In looking at Nunez's numbers, 2-3, ERA 3.5. Strikeouts to walks, 18 walks, 41 strikeouts. On the corner, 1-2. Great changeup. Boy, he comes flying off the mound, and then a soap bubble comes out. Two and two. So Donnelly appeared to hurtle at the hitter, but Nunez really comes flying off the mound. With 1 out, 2 strikes on him, you don't imagine that Furcal would explore him, but he'll make his notes about whether he feels he's buntable. Fouled away. With the Royals last year, Nunez was 4-1 and an ERA under 3. 2-2. Fouled away. Dodgers and Cardinals open up in St. Louis. Dodgers being pushed around today 8-4. The Cardinals were knocked around by the Phillies. They lost 9-2. 2-2. Fastball whacked into right center. Ross was shading him to left center, so Furcal can move on into second base, and he'll keep on going for 3. The relay gets away, but it's backed up by Nunez, and Furcal has a triple.
Second baseman, number 13, Orlando Hudson.
So Rafael Furcal takes one look. The ball had already reached the base of the wall. He goes to third and makes it. The overthrow backed up by Nunez. He was exactly where he was supposed to be. So Furcal standing at third. And now Hudson followed by Ethier. For Rafael, that would be his third triple. Hudson hitting .295 takes a strike. He's had a single and a double, hit by a pitch, grounded into a double play. Furcal with a triple leading off last night's game and a triple closing up today's game. 0-1. As we always do with a runner at third, we check the pitcher. Nunez has one wild pitch. 8-4 Marlins. They stopped scoring after they scored 4 in the fourth. Dodgers got 4 in the sixth. Otherwise, they haven't been able to score. 0-2 to Orlando. He has 50 RBIs. The Dodgers have 5 men with 50 or more. Down he goes. So Nunez took care of Pierre, takes care of Hudson, and now tries to finish off the Dodgers against Andre Ethier. Andre Ethier flied to deep center, and Hudson thought it was going to be an extra base hit in the first inning. And the Marlins doubled Hudson at first base. Ethier walked in the fourth, singled in the sixth, struck out in the seventh. Hitting a solid .270, 61 RBIs, trying to pick up for a call from third. James Loney on deck. And a fly ball and trouble like last night. So Furcal will score on a pop fly single into right center. That makes it 8-5 Marlins. Boy, was that a repeat for the West Coast? Almost. Ugla going out, and it drops. Last night it won the game. This time it just keeps the Dodgers alive. Ethier, his second hit, and the run batted in. So here comes Loney with Matt Kemp due up next. 2 out, ninth inning, 1 in. Marlins lead 8-5. Manny sitting quietly. Loney hit back to the box, hit into a double play, doubled and singled. 2 for 4. And there goes Ethier, but they're not going to make a play. The defensive indifference. The only thing it does is take what might be an escape force play at second. Takes that away. 1-0 to Loney. And a strike. 1-1. Loney had just one at bat against Nunez in the past. He struck out. Talking about strikeouts, Nunez has struck out 2 here in the ninth, getting Pierre and Hudson. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2 on the foul. Matt Kemp standing on deck. He's 2 for 4. In the Dodger lineup today, everyone with a base hit except Loretta, and Mark walked twice. Dodgers' 12 hits have scored 5 runs, and they're still a few bucks short. 8-5 Marlins, 2 out in the ninth. 1-2. Off the plate. So deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. A runner at second, 1 run in. And the Marlins lead by 3, 8-5. 2-2. Ball 3. Matt Kemp with his 13 home runs on deck, representing the possible tying run. So this is a very big pitch, and everybody up. 48,597. And we'll see. 3-2 to Loney. A line drive base hit into center. Here comes Ethier to score. So now it's Marlins 8, Dodgers 6, and Matt Kemp coming up representing the tying run. Loney's third hit of the game and his third run batted in. Mark Wiley on his way out to the mound to talk to Leo Nunez. Brian Sanchez, a right-hander, is throwing in the bullpen. So with 2 strikeouts, Nunez has allowed 3 hits and 2 runs. And the Dodgers, after a long day at the ballpark, finally at least get a look at the game where the hitter at the plate could be the tying run. 8 runs, 11 hits for the Marlins. 6 runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp single to center in the second inning, single to center in the fourth, hit back to the box in the sixth, and hit into a force play in the seventh. Now Matt hitting .315, 2 for 4 with his foot in the door, and on deck back of him, Russell Martin. Fastball strike. Working him inside at the knees, 0-1. Leo Nunez, 24. He's 25, middle of August. Fastball popped up behind the plate. Here comes Baker to make the catch. So Matt Kemp fouls out to the Marlins catcher, and the Dodgers come up a couple of bucks short. 8 runs, 11 hits, and no errors for the Marlins. 6 runs, 13 hits, and an error for the Dodgers, and we'll be back.